Hello there, everybody, and welcome to WhatCulture Wrestling for your hashtag No, not good afternoon. It's normally me for the good afternoon news. This is just your good
news.
Good news, just good news in general. My name is Adam Cleary, joined as ever by Adam Nicholas. And coming up for you today, loads and loads of wrestling goodness, including...
We do. Update on Bray Wyatt's status for SmackDown this weekend.
There's some news on a new set for Full Gear.
Jim Ross claiming that Tony Khan has saved his life.
There's a mouth-watering prospect NXT versus main roster match coming before Survivor Series.
Indeed. Kofi Kingston opens up on his loss to Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship.
This is the good. This
Actually,
is the good morning.
He does this is the news. We'll do it together. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
This
is
morning,
the news.
So first up, we have a bit of a weird one. This because it sounds like an explosive story, but it's one of those where the actual crucial details are still shrouded in mystery, and it could just be something completely innocent. But the bottom line is Kenny Omega going back to Japan for a DDT show was attempted to deny him entry to the country. Now, of course, Kenny's relationship with Japan and especially New Japan has been quite strained since he left to go to AEW, but according to the Wrestling Observer, Omega was stopped entering the country for the DDT show. Now, as we say, the exact details of why that was, we don't know. He did get into the show for the DDT show, but there is certainly some insinuation that there is something at amiss on the part of New Japan, that they are not happy with him. They're trying to stop him getting into the country to work for other shows because they don't want him back with Wrestle Kingdom only 2 or 3 months away. Apparently there is, according to the Observer, there is some arrangement in place with Jericho. They're not bothered about him. He will be facing Tanahashi still at Wrestle Kingdom. Nobody knows what's happening with Jon Moxley in the company, but yes, the feeling between Kenny Omega and the Bucks certainly is that something is foul.
Somebody's not happy here, are they?
Yeah.
That's the problem. And it's a shame because you would imagine they've given quite a lot to New Japan.
They have.
And I guess by default to Japanese culture at the same time because they love their pro wrestling.
They lived there for years and years and years and years.
Absolutely love it. So to see it turn this kind of sour, you hope they get that result. It's odd though. No issues with Jericho, no issues with Moxley, but specifically...
Jericho was a free agent. He didn't leave to go found AEW, which is pretty much what Kenny did right as he was becoming like the guy. He'd been the guy for a while, but he was the guy in the company. As we say, we don't quite know the specifics of what it was that happened, merely that something happened to stop him entering the company, and he did the country, and he did get in anyway. Now, there has been a suggestion on Reddit, I did a little wider reading about this. There has recently been a change to the employment law in Japan. This caused problems for Chris Wolf because she originally went over to Japan for a teaching job, and when that expired, it meant she couldn't work for Stardom. So there is perhaps some suggestion that Kenny Omega originally went to Japan to work for New Japan, and now his contract with them has ended. He has problems working for other things. It could be something completely innocent, but certainly the feeling and the word on the street is that this is a little bit underhand from New Japan, potentially. It'd be a shame if it was.
Is this similar, perhaps, then, if that is the case, to when, do you remember how Pac had visa issues?
Yeah.
And he'd already worked in America and was trying to work in America again. Maybe there's a similar sort of issue going on there. Possibly. Trying to look at this from less of a pessimistic point of view.
It'd be disappointing that New Japan, a company who, they bring in talent all the time, they know there's a wider wrestling world out there. They haven't got the WWE mindset of our way or the highway. It'd be disappointing to find out they had a hand in this, or they were trying to ban him from the country for some petty reason. So we hope it is just some little employment law, some little misunderstanding, and they get it resolved.
Fingers crossed. Well, there's been a lot of problems being stuck in countries and all sorts. WWE know all about that. They got stuck, obviously, in Saudi Arabia. And one thing that happened in Saudi Arabia at Crown Jewel was The Fiend finally won the Universal Championship.
Didn't know where we were going.
Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, when is The Fiend going to be on WWE TV with his belt?
I was thinking that.
Well, guess what, Adam Cleary? It's going to be this weekend, allegedly, on SmackDown. The tapings that are coming up, obviously we're in Manchester for SmackDown this weekend. They'll be happening, is it tonight or tomorrow? Or 2 in 1 stick? I don't know how they're doing it. I think
yes.
There you go. That's what I needed. Can't believe you just...
Is it tonight or tomorrow? Yes.
Yes, it is. Tonight or tomorrow. But yes, The Fiend has been confirmed as being on SmackDown. Now, he obviously did make an appearance prior to this on WWE Backstage as Bray Wyatt. Firefly Funhouse special episode where he came out with the belt and all his confetti, and it was actually a really good promo.
It was really good,
daft,
really
kind
good.
of the antithesis of him being this evil monster. Really, really well done. So get excited because The Fiend is going to be there. In what capacity, we're not sure yet, but we will find out. Also, we're not sure Brock Lesnar's going to be on Raw. He might fly out.
He might fly out, I don't know.
That's the difference between your two champions there.
Are we gonna sing it? They're gonna. I know we're getting Brock versus Rey Mysterio, but are we gonna get Fiend versus Brock?
No, we are absolutely not getting that. How good?
They've both lost to Seth Rollins.
Yeah, but they don't want to put Brock technically by that match. If they put Brock near the Fiend, Brock has to die.
Well, yeah, you thought that was several
That's not happening, is it?
Speaking of things that shouldn't die, the concept of new sets on wrestling pay-per-views.
Well done.
This is going to be the shortest news story I've ever done for you because it is literally just like 5 words.
Yep.
Twitter user Ned Baum, who I'm absolutely furious because he's verified despite having 20,000 less followers than me. What the hell? Can we sort that out, please? He tweeted, at Cody Rhodes, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Tony Khan, I miss the days where each pay-per-view set reflected the feel/theme of a show, unlike the other brand now just uses the same old set with minimal changes. Any chance of individualized sets making a return for AEW pay-per-views? And I think he echoes the sentiments of lots of us, doesn't he? Because that old Backlash swinging claw set was brilliant, all the old SummerSlam ones. I absolutely love this, which is why when they did the Royal Rumble in a baseball stadium and it felt different, I was like, yay, good, I like this. Nick Jackson replied, he quote tweeted that and just said, new set for the pay-per-view.
Cool.
There you go, new set for Full Gear.
As a man who has spent time at wrestling shows that you've had to set up from scratch, I think you can probably understand why companies don't do it so much.
I can, but
from
however,
a simplicity perspective.
However, we just kind of like, everybody who was setting up the ring and setting up the stage for those shows had other jobs to do, which is why it was a bit of why we all ended up being back there till 2 in the morning pulling down metal pipes.
You've got to like do the Armageddon set where there's like burnt out cars and that you've got to chuck around the place. Anyway.
You got a crew for it, you got a proper ring crew, do the proper ring.
I guess they're getting paid good money for it. And
Look, the bottom line here is that's not my problem.
That's
those ones were, but those ones aren't, so I don't mind.
Who are you, Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yes.
Anyway, speaking of somebody who knows Stone Cold Steve Austin, Jim Ross has been talking on his Grilling JR podcast episode, and he's had a lot to say because obviously there's a little bit more of a serious tone with this one because, you know, obviously the last couple of years have been probably quite up and down for Jim Ross. Obviously, his wife passed away 2 years ago, and since then, he's kind of been on and off of commentary for shows like New Japan. He's done little stints, even stints of companies like us a little bit before that. And I guess maybe was looking for a new lease of life to a certain extent, and it seems he's found it with All Elite Wrestling, obviously the commentary role that he plays on there, and I guess an ambassador for the company too in many respects. And he was talking about the relationship he has with Tony Khan and says that he's kind of helped him get out of the slump that he's been in. He says, I love to travel. Tony Khan saved my life. I believe that because I like getting up now and going somewhere. Every Tuesday morning I'm up at 4 or 5 o'clock at the latest to catch a plane, first flight out. Boom, I'm going to the city to have our production meeting on Tuesday night and then our show on Wednesday. So I got a direction now and a destination. So it sounds like, and this is another feel-good story, I guess, that comes with AEW and what they've probably provided to him, because let's be honest, Jim Ross was out of the twilight of his career. You'd say he's heading towards what you might have seen as the end, and it seems like he's completely, genuinely feel like he's becoming a better commentator. I know that sounds daft. Yeah, I feel like he had a bit of a stint for New Japan where he's a bit hit and miss perhaps. I feel like he's coming back into being...
There's certainly no commentators in wrestling who have managed to become such a presence during so many different eras of wrestling. Like, I think when JR started commentating, the kind of things he was having to commentate on. You do get a sense of that now. There's sometimes a little bit of scorn in the way he calls things because of what this business has become, etc. But the man is still a classic voice. He still makes AEW was better for having him on it.
But the reason I kind of like that approach that he's got is because sometimes perhaps if things are getting a bit lost in terms of old school rules of wrestling where you need to tell a story still, not just have lots of things happening with no real reason, he calls that out, and I kind of like that. It's kind of reminds it. So does Tony Schiavone. They do this. It all works for me. It's all been good.
I will say that story about catching the first flight, going straight to the production meeting, being revitalised for it. We had him involved in the production meetings for a number of WCPW shows, and he that is 100% how he does it. He's like asking where everybody else is with the script in hand, going through everything. The man unveiled the Pro Wrestling World Cup for us and commentated on a number of the matches for it. So genuinely to see him this revitalised. And to be fair, if the previous few years were him in a slump period, the energy he was still bringing to working with us was fantastic. So I can only imagine what it must be like to work with him now.
And of course, because I really like this photo, just to kind of sum that up, here he is, sat at Jimmy's Seafood just yesterday with... Imagine what world this is. He sat with two of the hottest talents, I guess, coming up in wrestling world. He's got Darby Allin on one side, he's got Joey Janela on the other, and he just looks like he's having the best time. Fantastic stuff.
I had a panini with him in Leicester Students' Union, which is pretty much exact same photo.
Of course you did.
He wasn't blown away by the selection of paninis.
He's looking down at the panini like
Leicester
I got
University.
up at 4 a.m. for this.
Yeah, Leicester University Students' Union. Me and Kenny got a panini.
Outstanding.
Yeah, that was good. Anyway, moving swiftly on. 2 men who don't eat paninis, or indeed 6 or 7 men who don't eat paninis, are the Undisputed Era and the OC.
Good.
Now,
that was seamless.
This is another dreadful, dreadful story from my perspective, because I was going to write predicting every single match match at Survivor Series, and every single time I go, well, just wait, last show finishes, and they've used one of the matches that was going to go into the thing. They did Seth Rollins versus Adam Cole. That was one of my main ones, and they unveiled this, they unveiled that. So I'm probably
going to be even more unhappy when you find out that Adam Wilborn's got a video where he's just fantasy booked the whole thing.
We talked about this.
Yes, communication.
I'm not going to bother. That's the end result of this. Basically, one of the things I wanted them to do was OC versus Undisputed Era. Now, obviously, they can't do that at Survivor Series. Well, they can, but they're not going to because Adam Cole is obviously going to be involved at Survivor Series. We don't know who for yet, but obviously the Undisputed Era, they're in the tag team match, and as well as no, they're not. The OC have got other stuff going on anyway. Basically, everyone's busy, so they can't do that
there
match.
We go.
So they're going to be doing the Undisputed Era versus the OC on television at some point in the future. Apparently, this week, AJ Styles went backstage. He pitched the idea of doing himself, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows against 3 members of Undisputed Era. Apparently, the feedback that came back from that was, no, we'll do all 4 of them, and we'll get you another partner at some stage. So that looks like it's going to happen. However,
goodness.
Styles is going to be involved in that mid-card triple threat match. Now, apparently, that match, as we've already said on a number of news videos, is the call was made that they wanted to do North American Champion versus Intercontinental Champion versus United States Champion.
Yeah.
The call was not made that they wanted to do Roderick Strong versus Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles. And there is talk that one of those belts, probably Styles Intercontinental Championship, might change hands between now and then. Obviously, he's involved in the storyline.
That's his US title.
Yeah, Nakamura's Intercontinental title.
There you go.
Is that what I said? Is that what I said? No, well, anyway, he did a feud with Daniel Bryan, and that's going to be changing hands at some point.
Interesting.
Potentially, which would free up Nakamura and not use him on the show, or they could have Styles' title change hands, and you could use him in something else going forward. Basically, they've got loads of stuff they can do between now and then, and we keep getting given these absolute gifts on television at the minute, and...
The only thing I want them to do is to do that match. If it's going to be on TV, just do it on NXT.
Yeah, well, that's the talk.
Give it to NXT. Don't put that on the main roster. They've done enough going on there. I'm sure they can find better matches. That is a match that belongs in NXT. More so because they could have the 4th man be Finn Balor.
Yeah, it's difficult to know precisely where they're going to go with it at the minute because obviously NXT they dominated SmackDown on Friday. They were a presence. They went out on top on Monday Night Raw, but now they've had a little bit back. It didn't really feel like the main roster gave too much back on an episode of NXT. It was literally just the OC involved when you expected a few more things to happen. So difficult to know precisely how they balance this going forward because obviously they need to keep NXT a strong presence for Survivor Series, but at the same time, you have to let their own rivalries grow on their own show, and you can't have them teaming up every single week on the main roster. So it's difficult to know where they're going to go with this, but I have complete faith in them not ruining anything.
Oh, that's nice. Well, he has a nice tie into ruining something, because as you all remember, back on the opening episode of SmackDown on Fox, Kofi Kingston's championship reign was ruined by Brock Lesnar, who came on and squashed the poor man in the blink of an eye. And he's actually been talking, for the first time I think I can remember him talking about this, with Alex McCarthy of Talk Sport, who's been getting some great interviews. You should definitely check out Alex's content on Twitter if you haven't already, especially this weekend, because there's lots of WWE people in Manchester. And he was talking with Kofi about the title reign and how he felt about how it had all come to an end. And this is what our boy Kofi had to say. He said, it was a bit of a disappointment to go out there and have it go so quickly, and especially on the biggest night of SmackDown. To have it end like that was a little bit disheartening, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's not really like I can do anything about it. You show up to work one day and it's like, okay, this is what's going to happen. But listen to this, the man who preaches the power of positivity, what a great way of looking at it this is.
I thought you were going to say the man who preaches the power of positivity. What the hell is this about?
What a great line this is. The thing about it is, though, they talk about Ric Flair being a 16-time world champion. You can't be a 16-time world champion without losing 15 times. I knew it wasn't going to last forever, but hopefully there's more reigns to come.
Oh, they're putting him in the feud with the big dog. Oh, that's that tease. That's really nice, man. I mean, Kofi's title run will probably be looked back upon far more fondly in the future than it is in the immediate present. So a lot of the title defenses were really disappointing. They never really put him with somebody who you felt there was a natural storyline in there. Yeah. They never ever managed to get back to those heights of the build to that championship match, and indeed they never got anywhere near the actual moment of him winning that belt. There were tears. We were in the stadium. There were actual tears in that stadium when Kofi won that, and some of them were mine.
And some of them were mine, and some of them were Adam Wilborn's.
Yeah,
and we all had tears, and it's okay.
I'm not ashamed to admit that, because it felt like a genuine moment as a wrestling fan, and we were there to see it.
And I will point out that Kofi did also really not, obviously he's not going to, but he kind of said Vince McMahon had supported them throughout the whole lot of this, from the very beginning of the New Day to obviously right now. And it was a big moment for the pair of them, and I think it sounds like it really had an impact Obviously, it's a shame to see it go the way it did, but it is what it is.
But as he says, you can't be a 16-time world champion without losing 15 times, so that hopefully means there is another great Kofi Kingston championship story in his future and indeed ours. Fingers crossed. Again, a third time I crossed my fingers on this podcast. Where am I? I'm still asleep, mate.
It's okay, mate. We'll get there. Wait,
is that camera on?
Should we do some Twitter questions?
Yeah, go on then.
Now that you're wide awake.
Yeah.
I'll try and run through these as quick as I possibly can. The first one, as always, you can fire your Twitter questions to us on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Let us know what you want to hear about and we'll try our best to answer them. First one comes from David Burns. Hello, David, who says...
What, from Talking Heads?
Well, I'm not going to tell you. WWE doesn't like to acknowledge other wrestling companies exist, but they never pass up a chance to do business. Do you ever see a match between AEW and WWE happening at WrestleMania?
No, not anywhere in the immediate future. Well, I'll tell you why. You got to ask yourself, right? If that's happening on WWE's grandest stage, what do they benefit from having a far smaller wrestling company? Let's face it, at this stage, they are still a far smaller wrestling company. They have half the TV audience.
I can hear the comment section going mad now. That's good.
Not saying worse, nothing like that, but right now, that would be a huge platform. That is a platform for AEW bigger than they can conceivably get themselves any time in the near future. Not forever, but any time in the near future. They would effectively be doing them a favour. And why in business would you do your nearest rivals a favour? Don't get me wrong, it's a wet dream from a fan's perspective. I could fantasy book that till my pants fall off, but not going to happen.
Nice to dream about it, but I ultimately don't think it'll happen.
The only way it'll happen is if WWE buys AEW.
Is if hell freezes over. Yeah. Well, that's the same thing, I guess. The next question comes from Ben, who says, with the match between the three women's champions, I wish I could give you these more exciting names.
These are literally... To Mr. and Mrs. N, a son.
With the match between three women's champions at Survivor Series, do you think this could lead to a possible 4 horsewomen match at some point? Hopefully, WrestleMania. A lot of people big up on WrestleMania this morning.
Well, it's because this is us talking about Randy Orton. I guess we started this, didn't we? We've lighted the spark, touched the fuse, that set the fire, that did all this for WrestleMania. We've officially started the countdown to WrestleMania 36. Who's editing this?
I hope it's not me.
Yeah, let's get the countdown timer right here, please. WrestleMania 36. I think, aside from doing the first ever women's main event of WrestleMania, the last genuine, eye-catching thing they've got on the table at the minute, don't get me wrong, things will change in the future as they get other stars and the groundwork changes, but right now, the one thing WWE has almost in its grasp that would be a huge money match, a genuine, eye-catching main event for the women's division is 4 horsemen versus 4 horsemen. But between now and then, A, you got to get Rousey back.
Yeah.
B, you've got to set up Duke and Shafir as being...
Get Rousey!
Yeah, that's too good, that's genuinely too good. You've got to set them to it as being a little bit more of a threat. They need like a women's tag team run at some point. They need to do something just to get themselves... Don't get me wrong, if the 4 horsemen from MMA are going to be the heel team, which undoubtedly they will be, you can get away with having 2 goobers in it, but they need to be... You need to see more of them in ring between now and then. But I'll tell you what, there's plenty of time between now and... WrestleMania. So there you go, good work.
Loads of time to squeeze that in.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I think if they do, they'll have to ramble it, shackle it together at the last minute. But it's on the table, and they should do it.
I couldn't agree more with that. I'd like to follow up with more, but we are running short on time. I have this really important question, and I'm finally to do. This one is the one specifically for you.
Isn't it?
This is from Gutierrez from Costa Rica, who says, and that's not me giving you the country, that's literally his name on Twitter.
Okay, to Mr. and Mrs. from Costa Rica.
Indeed. Why don't Adam Cleary and Adam Nicholas answer Twitter questions anymore on Good After News? # Good After News.
Suck it, Goody.
Time constraints is what happens. Unfortunately, we get... For you. We will...
Pour vous.
If you send one in, we'll answer that one on the next Good After News. And finally, I'll do this dead quick because I know we're running over a bit. We've had our finally today come from James on Twitter. I genuinely didn't pick all these for the simple names other than Gutierrez from Costa Rica. James has been busy today, or yesterday. He's going to the Manchester shows, and James is very excited. You might well have seen it. James said he has his signs ready for # WWE Manchester tonight, and they have a distinct WhatCulture WWE theme. So here we are. We have Simon give it an...
That's becoming a very popular sign.
We have Wilborn Worldwide, of course, with the globe in the O. Didn't bother doing it. Wilborn's name.
That sent me west, that sent me west.
And, of course, working on Saturday, for fuck's sake.
I'm taking that one. I've never had a personalised sign at a wrestling show. I'm taking that as half a point.
We'll have half a point each because that was our news from that Saturday. Yep. And wonderful stuff. Thank you for doing that, James. If you can get on TV, get your arse on there. Chuck it up, not your arse, the sign, obviously.
Don't chuck your arse on the sign.
And we'll well, we'll be happy about it. We're not going to do anything. We've
looking
done enough
forward.
for you, I think.
Looking forward to somebody having a sign that just says Adam Peary still hasn't had a sign at a wrestling show. I'd love that.
It's you.
That's
You've got
me.
the Manchester with the sign.
There we go. Should sign off. Yeah,
Let's
thank you very
sign
much
off,
for
yes.
joining us on your hashtag good news. We'll probably be back this afternoon as well.
Yes, I would
Depending on
imagine
what happens, I think Melter said he's got a big update on Saudi Arabia. And indeed, so do I if it gets edited in time. So they'll be back for all that later on.
And he'll be telling us the latest on his match with Seth Rollins, but that's all
Yes,
still
no
to come.
doubt. Yeah, let us know what you made of all of this in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, whatever you're doing. If you go to SmackDown tonight, if you're going to be watching WhatCulture on Saturday, who's in? Are you in?
Definitely not me.
So somebody's in to do all this stuff. Let us know what you make of it, comments, etc. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. In the meantime, this has been Adam Cleary and Adam Nicholas. We have been your morning news friends.
Good.
And we'll see you soon.
Yes, we will. Sooner than you'd like, I'm sure.